Hello again, this is Marlene, the famous Marlene, Astrologer Extraordinaire. So the last video was on Uranus and how important it is to know, whether you're a Leo, a Scorpio, a Taurus, and or an Aquarius, and or you have inner planets in those signs. If you don't know what your inner planet, what signs they're in, not all of your planets are in one sign, then you're not going to know whether this outer planet is impacting you or not. So that's something perhaps you can find out on, on a chart. You may not be able to read it, though. Again, it's a different language. So that's where an astrologer comes in very handy. Now, what I wanted to talk about was the importance of the exact birth time. Now, many times, oh, I'll call my mom and she'll know. I just have to tell you, I have to bear the bad news that not all mothers know and remember that. Honestly, they don't. I've seen it over and over and over. I can't tell you how many times. And you may have those that do. And you have a few here and there that do exact. And then you get the birth chart and you go, wow. Look at that, my mother was right. It happens. But more often than not, it doesn't. And I've had many, many times when the mother says, oh, I'm certain that Anthony was born at 2:38 a.m. And then finally, a year later, we get that birth chart and we look and see, it wasn't in the morning. It was in the afternoon. And it was nowhere near 2:38 p.m. either. So, which would be a complete reversal over if it was Capricorn rising, and then it was exactly 12 hours later, boom, then it would be Cancer rising. So that's just an example of what could happen. Now, what I'm going to do here is I have covered some of the names on these charts just to protect their identity. The reason I want to use this chart here as an example, this is one of my friends, Mary, and we might talk about her in detail at some time because she does have a few interesting things going on. Now, this person is, let me see when she was born, 1942, so she is a very metaphysical lady, and but she's going to have a birthday next month. So she'll be 76, my goodness. So anyway, this is her chart. Now, until 5 years ago, Mary's whole life, she thought she was a Virgo. She was born on September 23rd. So she thought she was a Virgo. So until I came along and said, do you have the exact birth time? Do you have a birth certificate? And so she was able to get that, and we looked, and I don't know if you can see this really clearly here, but this is the sun right here. And if you look at that, let me get a close-up shot of that. Let's see. It's 00 degrees Libra, 03 minutes. So she's only just barely into Libra, but her entire life she thought she was a Virgo. Now, a lot of times just in having a conversation with people, I can pick up on the qualities in 30 minutes. I can usually pick up on several qualities. And I don't do this very much, and people, because they're only thinking about the sun sign. And I'm thinking, well, wow, I'm getting Sag here, I'm getting this there. They don't know that, I'll go home and look up the birth date and I go, yep, bingo, Sag moon. Because they're only thinking, well, guess my sign. It's like, no, it's much more complex than that. And with this chart, it would have been a little bit difficult for me to try to ascertain whether she was a Virgo sun or a Libra sun. Why? Because she already had planets in Virgo. And she already had planets in Libra. So she already had Venus in Virgo here. over here. And then her Mars is also in Libra. So it's pretty hard to differentiate at that point whether a person has one more planet in Virgo or one more planet in Libra, because they're already exhibiting the qualities of both of those signs. So now, and then this is interesting here, this person, because, you know, I can see where the planets are by looking at an ephemeris. However, if you don't have the birth date, it's very common, because every 2.5 days the moon moves into a different sign. So we can look at her moon here. Her moon is in Pisces, 19 degrees, but because it falls somewhat, I could look at the ephemeris and go, most likely she's a moon in Pisces. But it's very common to just look at the moon and go, okay, this person, if they're born earlier in the day, their moon would be Pisces. If they're born later in the day, the moon's going to be in Aries. We can't know that if we don't run the time. And that happens with the moon more commonly, because, as I said, you know, every 2.5 days it moves through a different sign. Now, it can happen too that, you know, they could have Mars, another planet, Venus or Mars, in the very, very late degrees of a sign, and I'm looking at it and knowing full well that it changed signs on that day, but without having the exact birth time, I'm not going to know. Is your Mars in Scorpio, or is it in Sag? So again, you know, the importance of getting the exact birth time, and then we wouldn't have known her midheaven here. This is called the midheaven, the 12 o'clock position of the chart. I'm not going to go too much into this right now, but 3, 6, 9, 12, the angles, we call these the angles on the chart, are very important. And the 12 o'clock position, she has Leo, right livelihood issues. This person loves to get on the center stage and sing. And that's so Leonian. But we wouldn't have known that. We didn't know what her, you know, she doesn't do that for a living, but it is definitely one of her passions. So I wanted to talk about the importance of why it's so important. Mary's a perfect example because, you know, if she was born even 10 minutes earlier, 15 minutes earlier, she would have been a Virgo. So that's how close it can be. Sometimes it's just a matter of 2 or 3 minutes. So that's the importance of that. Now, I want to show you another reason why this person had their exact time and birth date. Now, we have a very unusual circumstance happening here. And this is something that, you know, an astrologer could look at this and go like, you know, honestly, there's not a whole lot of things going on in this person's chart right now why he should be experiencing just everything going upside down in his life, from, you know, splitting up with partners, from thinking, you know, maybe I want to move. I don't know if I'm living where I want to live. Maybe I want to change locations. You know, I'm not sure if I even like where I'm working. You know, maybe I want to change professions, go into something else, or, you know, maybe I don't like the particular boss I have right now. Maybe I want to, you know, I want to stay in the same line, but this isn't the ideal person that I want to work for. Now, the reason I want to pull this chart up, because this is actually, I've looked at thousands of charts over the years, and this is extremely rare to see this. Now, what am I looking at? If you look at, he's got 19 degrees Aries here on his descendant, 19 degrees Libra on the ascendant. Of course, those are going to be the same, but now here's the clincher here. He's got 19 Cancer. Now, these all square each other. And 19 degrees Capricorn down here at the roots here, part of the chart. So it just so happens that if we didn't have this information right here with what's going on with the outer planets aspecting not just one angle of this person's chart, because there is, people are going to be experience a lot of change and disruption in their life if they're having an outer planet hitting an inner planet. But you can have, in my experience, just as much disruption in your life, if not more, if you have an outer planet transiting an angle. An angle. But if you have the wrong birth time, you're not going to know what those angles are. I can look at this chart and go, wow, I'm not actually seeing anything that's upside down in this person's life right now. And technically, I really don't, because none of those planets are being directly aspected. But then I look at this, bingo. This person is going through hell right now. And it's the transit that he's going to be going through, what's been going on already for, about 10 months, but he's got a lot more time to go on this, unfortunately. And it would help to be armed with that information, because it's so useful, and at least you have some peace of mind. Okay, yes, I might have another 18 months to go through this, because the outer planets, they transit so slowly, and as they're transiting the innermost planets of your chart, or an angular hits are harsh. They really, really are. So there goes that book. Whoops. Anyway, there goes my ephemeris, taped together and put together again. I can't tell you how many of these I've had, So, yeah, taped together, botched, because that's how you learn. That's how you learn. But, so I just wanted to go over the importance of a birth chart. And I'm looking at the time on this. It's a little bit longer than I wanted to go, but I'm gonna add one more thing about the importance of getting the exact birth time. And this is, if your parent doesn't have a copy of your birth certificate, I've learned from directing people how to do this, many years of doing it. What you can do, now it depends, this depends. If you were born in a really big city like Los Angeles or New York, they're very busy. Those people may or may not take the time out to give that information to you over the phone. Most of them won't. There's usually a fee, and it varies from state to state, city to city. It could be $3, it could be $5, it could be $15, it could be $25. We don't know. But you have to ask them, I'm calling to get my birth certificate. They'll tell you this is how long it's going to take to get it. It might be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, again, depending on now. Now, I'm going to give you a little tip here, because even if you live in a big city, I've talked to people that, a big city in New York, and were able to get that information right over the phone. Now, that doesn't happen very often, because these people are very busy. They don't want to waste time. But this person was very, very sweet and very diplomatic on how they approached this person to get that information. And they were able to pull the file right over the phone. This can happen. This can save you a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, $5, $10, $20, whatever it is. It varies, all over the map, country to country, state to state, city to city. It's a big variable. So I just want to give you that tip, because I have seen it done. So if you're somebody, put on your very sweet, diplomatic, nice person phone voice, and they might be willing to help you. And you may be able to get that information right over the phone. So, okay, so that's about birth time and the importance of getting the exact time, and a couple examples on the charts as to why it is really imperative to have that timing. So with that in mind, signing off for now, and we'll catch up with another video very soon. Thank you for watching.